The house on the hill. It wasn't long. I wasn't there long. In fact, I could barely remember being there at all before I was somewhere else. But it's odd how some things stay with you, like a dream or a nightmare that you can remember 30 or 40 years later. The house stood at the top of a hill, and I remember it so well. I particularly remember the boiler room, because being so young, I was afraid of the boiler, which contained fire, like a small black hell which made gurgling noises. My great nightmare was walking past that boiler, walking through the boiler room. It felt like the kind of place that one might never escape from. The house was supposed to be a school. They called it the House on the Hill, and it was a school of sorts, a nursery school for 3 to 5-year-olds. We were all so young and so tiny. I suppose that to us the staff were giants. Not that I remember the staff. I just remember once being bitten by another child, which resulted in me having soap rubbed into the wound. I also vaguely remember having a girlfriend called Tracy. She seemed pretty to me. So pretty. Maybe she grew up pretty. I never saw her again, and I doubt I'll see her now. But it was really that fear of the boiler and the horrible sense of having to pretend to sleep after lunch. I don't know if any of the children ever really went to sleep after lunch. We just had to fold our arms on the table and rest our head there and close our eyes. A large lady in an apron would monitor the children to make sure our eyes were closed. The trouble was that whenever I closed my eyes, all I could see was the face in the fire. Ah, did I not mention that the fire had a face in it? Yeah, in the boiler room, in the black boiler that was behind a kind of fencing so that children wouldn't accidentally touch it. In the fire in that boiler, I think I saw a face in the flames, and the face seemed to distort and scream as if there was someone in that fire, someone who was burning. Not that I knew back then what it was to burn. I didn't know what that meant. I only knew that it terrified me. Don't be such a silly bully. There's nothing to be afraid of. Adults always think they know what children should and shouldn't be afraid of. That's because they've lost touch with the beginning and end of their lives. They've lost touch with the stuff that lurks in the fire and the water and the shadows. I'd go home each day, and it seemed to my memory that I went home by car. In my memory, I seemed to think, is that all there is to life? A bad thing to think as a child, but I honestly thought it. Going to this place called school, the house on the hill, and then going home. The one great thing that set my soul ablaze with pleasure was looking into the 625-line black and white TV set and seeing the Flintstones. The Flintstones, the modern Stone Age family. They did not have a boiler room. They had an elephant vacuum cleaner and a pet dinosaur called Dino. There were no horrors and no boys that bit your arm. Each day, returning to that place, the house on the hill, the house with the boiler room and the forced sleep routines and the biting children and my girlfriend Tracy, I couldn't help feeling that I was being got rid of. I suppose all the children feel that way at some point in their early development. Your parents start out being so close to you, and then they go back to the lives they had before you were born, well, more or less, and you find yourself in strange places with people who don't know you, with giants who you are extremely unsure of. I never liked school. I didn't like it any more when I got older, but I really didn't like it then. School was always that place of horror, even if there were friends and nice experiences somewhere along the way, and I would always remember that room which contained screaming fire. As an adult, I found out that a famous film had been shot in the house on the hill. It was a film about a child who had disappeared. I suppose it's easy enough to Google such information today. All information now is at the click of a button. I wonder if the fame of the school from the film had something to do with my parents' choice to send me there. I have seen the film. I don't remember much about it, and I don't think I recognised my own nursery school in it. I kind of buried the idea of the face because, well, let's face it, most children want to be brave. And my principal memory of nursery school was of being scared. Recently, however, I tried to find out more about the school. using the internet. I guess the internet is still far from perfect, as there were no entries about the school. I guessed I was simply the wrong generation to have my early childhood chronicled. But curiosity is a beast, and in my old age I still have a little time on my hands. I asked around, I even spoke to someone who had worked on the film, a friend of a friend of a friend who I shall not name. Oh, that place, that was a horrible location. Nobody liked working on that location. I mean, kids, but also it gave everyone the creeps. Not surprising that they turned it into a luxury housing after the accident. What accident? I asked. And the shock came. Yeah, some kind of problem with the boilers. The whole thing blew up. Nobody was hurt, but it was a close thing, and they closed the place down not long after. I thought of the boiler, and the face in the boiler, the screaming face. In the boiler that everyone told me I was a silly Billy to walk past. And in my heart, I can't shake the feeling that whatever was in that boiler didn't want to be there alone.